Hello everyone, welcome to the JEETNEET channel. Today we are going to discuss about the topic oogenesis. Previously we have in detail explained about the spermatogenesis and structure of the sperm. Today I am going to discuss about the process in detail with a diagrammatic explanation, that is oogenesis. Oogenesis is nothing but process of formation of a mature female gamete, right? It's not immature, it's a mature female gamete is called oogenesis. If I say another definition for this oogenesis process, that is formation of haploid ova, haploid is nothing but which is the N, from diploid oogonia, right? Diploid oogonia. Diploid is nothing but the 2n. Simply we can say that from 2n you are going to produce the n. This is another definition we can say for the process of oogenesis. That is process of formation of mature female gamete, which is the NCERT definition. If I say the another word for this oogenesis, that is formation of a haploid ova from the diploid oogonia. We will say it as the oogenesis process. Where is the location of occurrence of this oogenesis here, right? Location of occurrence of this oogenesis process. Most of you have known that, ma'am, oogenesis process will happen in the ovary, right? Oogenesis process will happen in the where here? Ovary. In ovary, where it is going to be happen? In ovary, it is going to be happen in the place that is called as ovarian cortex, right? Because we know that in the ovary we have two structures. If I consider now this is a ovary is surrounded with the 3 layers. Everyone knows, I hope so. If you don't know, please check it here. That is, first outermost layer called as peritoneum membrane will be present, right? Second one, which is calling it as germinal epithelium, which is made up of with the cuboidal shaped cells, right? This is the second one, is a germinal epithelium. And the third one, which is the inner one, we can say that is a tunica vaginalis, right? This is a third layer called as tunica vaginalis. The total space which is present inside the ovary, we will call it as ovarian stroma. Total space which is present here, we will call it as a ovarian stroma. In the previous lectures I have explained in detail about the structure of ovary totally beta, right? In this one, this ovarian stroma is again divided into two parts. This is, we are calling it as a cortex region, and this inner one we are calling it as a medullary region, right? And the oogenesis process will happen in the ovary. In which place I told you here? Ovarian cortex, right? In the sense, this is the place where the oogenesis process will happen, like as primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, Graafian follicle. Ovulation is going to be happen from this. So this is the region where the ovarian cortex, where this oogenesis process is going to be happen. I repeat the point again here. Our ovary is covered with the 3 major layers. One is the outermost called as peritoneum membrane, which is also we can call it as a mesovarium. The second one, that is the germinal epithelium, which is also called as cuboidal epithelium, because the cells which are present here is in the cuboidal in shape. The inner one, which we will call it as a tunica vaginalis. This cuboidal epithelium only will undergo for the process called as what here now? Oogenesis. I hope so I am clear. Where is the exact location where this oogenesis process is going to be happen in the female body? Okay, right. Next one. That is period of oogenesis process, right? In the sense, when this oogenesis process will start in the female body, right? When this oogenesis process will start in the female body, right? When the female in embryonic development. When the female is in the embryonic development, then oogenesis will start, right? When the female is in the embryonic development of mother's womb, the oogenesis process will start. If I say exactly, if this is a mother's womb, right? If this is a mother's womb, okay, this is a fetus, where it is developing inside the mother's womb only. Everyone knows that the fetus gender will be get decided at the time of fertilization, right? At the time of fertilization, the fetus gender will be get decided, right? So now it is get decided. I hope so you know that whenever the XX will be present here, the fetus will be the female here. At the time of fertilization, the fetus gender will be get decided. Once the fetus is gender got decided here, then this female, inside that, the gonads formation will get start, right? It might have got started development in the first month, and it might have got completed its development by the 6th month here, right? Completed might have its development by the 3rd month or 4th month, 5th month. That will be the developmental period. Now the oogenesis process will start, right? The oogenesis process start in the which month? 6th month. In both the ovaries, whatever is present in the fetus condition of a female body, in the 6th month, the oogenesis process is going to be get start. That's what the NCERT has given. When the female is in an embryonic developmental condition, the oogenesis process is going to be get start. So exactly I'm just telling you that approximately we can consider that around the 6th month in both the ovaries, the oogenesis process is going to be get start, because by that time the gonads which has got totally got developed here. Clear? When is the period we understood? Before that we understood where is the exact the location here. How it is going to be get happen here? Look at the process better. If this is the ovary, just now I told you that ovaries or second layer, which we have discussed it as a what here now, that is a germinal epithelium, right? This germinal epithelium is also called as cuboidal epithelium, right? Most of the books, when you are just going with the MCQs doing here, you will find this word cuboidal epithelium or the germinal epithelium. So this is a second layer, which is a germinal epithelium or the cuboidal epithelium, having with the cells called as female germ cells, which is also called as primordial germ cells, which is also called as primordial germ cells, which is also called as egg cells also we can say here, right? Egg cells which can able to immature beta here, which is the immature, not the mature one here. Immature egg cells also we can say, which we can also call it as a oogonia also, right? Oogonium is a singular, oogonia will be the plural we can say. This is the thing here now. Now I am going to start with the exactly how the oogenesis process is going to happen with the help of flowchart. See the flowchart carefully and the diagrams what I am drawing here. Right, first I am just taking the piece of germinal epithelium. Imagine now this is a germinal epithelium. This is a germinal epithelium. Just now I told you that germinal epithelium is also called as which epithelium here? Cuboidal epithelium. The cells which are present, each cell which is present here, we are calling it as a female germ cells, right? Which we will call it as a what? Female germ cell, or we can use another word calling it as primordial germ cell, right? Now I am just taking the one germ cell here, right? One germ cell. Imagine this is a one germ cell, which we can say, right? The single cell we are taking here, this single cell we will call it as a oogonium, right? Oogonium, because Plural we will say the oogonia, right? Singular we will call it as a oogonia. This oogonia is in the which condition now here? 2n condition will be present. Now this oogonia is undergoing for division, right? Which division it is going to be undergo now? That is the mitosis. That is called as what you know? Mitosis. Before that, let me tell you that oogenesis process will happen in the how many phases here? Better I can write it somewhere else here. I will write it here. That is, oogenesis process will happen in the 3 phases. One is the multiplication phase. Multiplication phase. Second one, growth phase. Growth phase. Third one, that is maturation phase, right? Oogenesis process will happen in the 3 phases, but spermatogenesis will happen in the 4 phases here. I'll say the differences between the oogenesis and spermatogenesis also, but the oogenesis will happen in the 3 phases. One is a multiplication phase, one is a growth phase, and one is a which one beta here? Maturation phase here, right? If I discuss now what is the first phase should happen here? Multiplication phase. Multiplication phase is nothing but the number of cells has to be get increased, right? Multiplication of the cells will be considered as a multiplication phase here. By multiplication of the cells or the number of cells is increased by which division we can say here? That is mitosis. Whenever the oogonium is undergoing for the mitosis, how many cells it will produce here? That will be the 2 cells it will produce. Ma'am, generally mitosis will produce the 2 cells here, isn't it here, right? And 2 cells also, which condition will be there? 2n condition will be there, because the mitosis we know that it's an equal division we can say here. But beta, here there is a difference here. These mitosis will undergo continuously in these cells more than 7 divisions beta, right? More than 7 divisions. NCERT has not given this point, but more than 7 divisions, this mitosis is going to be get happen. In the sense, every cell we can call it as a now oogonium only here, right? I can consider now these are the what you know? Oogonia, right? So these oogonias continuously undergo for mitosis more than 7 divisions. By that, the number of oogonias will be get increased here now. If I consider 7 divisions means 7 into 2 around 120 or like that, approximately. More than 7 divisions means approximately 120, and above that the oogonias is going to be get produced here, right? Ma'am, obviously oogonias is going to be get produced here, but what is the reason here? Listen. See, whenever the oogonias will get produced here, whatever this approximately 120 or more than that I am telling you here, they divided themselves into as a 2 types of cells. These are the type A cells and these are the type B cells. The same point I have explained you in the spermatogenesis. If you don't have seen that video, please go and check with that video, spermatogenesis by the Shalu Mam, right? You can see the same point over there, but I have told you that I'm telling you the difference between now spermatogenesis and oogenesis here, right? In the oogenesis process of the female, these type A oogonias which are present here, they will continuously undergo for mitosis until the 9 months only. In the sense, until the development of these fetus inside the mother. So because this might have started in the which month I have told you here, no? In the 6th month, in the where beta? Ovarian cortex region. This oogenesis process might have started with the first phase, calling it as a multiplication phase. Can I say no? This phase is a which phase here? No? Multiplication phase. Because in the multiplication phase, the name itself it is telling that the number of cells got multiplied by the which division here? No? Mitosis. Continuously right from 6th month to up to the 9 months, this mitosis division will happen, where until the 9 months this type A cells will undergo for division, and where it continuously produces the what here? No? Oogonia. But very important NCERT point, where most of the good students won't understand this point. NCERT has given that no more oogonia will produce after birth of baby, right? Can you see this point in the NCERT now? No more oogonia are produced, right? No more oogonia produced after the birth of a baby, because when the oogonium has started mitosis in the 6th month until the 9 months, these type A cells will continuously undergo for mitosis to produce the oogonias here. Whatever the oogonias we will have in our body until their menopause condition, of course after the birth no more oogonias will be there. These oogonias will convert into as a primary oocytes, right? Whatever the primary oocytes we have in our body, that is only happened right from 6th month to only up to 9 months of when we are getting developed in the mother's womb, right? That's what NCERT has given, that no more oogonias are going to be get produced after the birth of a baby, because all the oogonias has got produced in the female body right from 6th month to up to the 9 months. That to type A cells or type B cells better? Type A cells here. Ma'am, what about this type B cells here? What will happen to this type B cells here? Listen, now I'm talking about the type B cells better here, right? Now these type B cells, now first we discussed about the which phase here now? The first phase, calling it as a multiplication phase here, okay? Now I'm talking about the second phase, that is a growth phase, right? So how it will happen here? Look at here. Now I am taking, this is a oogonia only now beta, right? One oogonium I am taking here, which is considering it as oogonias here. Now these oogonia is undergoing for the next phase called as growth phase, right? That is this oogonia whatever is present here, right? I'm sorry. This oogonia whatever is present here, it is going to be convert into as a which oocyte here now? Primary oocyte. Which oocyte we can say here? This one, it is a primary oocyte, right? This primary oocyte is further undergoes further for the formation of, I'm just making a thing here now, further for the formation of a primary follicle here. Look at here now. Primary follicle, how it will form here? First inside they will be having a primary oocyte. Inside it will be having a what? Which oocyte here now? Primary oocyte, right? This will be the primary oocyte which is their inner side, right? And it surrounds with the which cells here no? Granulosa cells. Look at this point, ma'am. What is this granulosa cells here? Imagine this structure, we will say it as a what here no better? Primary follicle. This structure we will use the word for this what here no? Primary. I'm just writing the primary follicle in this way, right? In a shorter way, right? Primary. I'm just representing in this way better here, right? That is the primary follicle. Okay. Primary follicle is having a two structures. One is a primary oocyte is present. It surrounds with the cells, calling it as what are these cells we can say here? Granulosa cells. Ma'am, how these granulosa cells came over here? Look at the point here. Just now I told you that here the germinal epithelium, here what is this layer beta? This is the condition called as cortex region. This is called as what? Medulla here. So these cuboidal cells are present now here, right? These cuboidal cells which are present here, these cuboidal cells only, imagine now this is a primary oocyte. These cuboidal cells only will come and surround to this primary oocyte to form a which structure here now? Primary follicle here. Clear this point here? So these granulosa cells which is going to be get present here, they are going to be get formed with the which cells we can say here? Cuboidal epithelium, right? Because cuboidal epithelium cells is also which shape will be present here? Cuboidal only. So that the granulosa cells also will be in the which shape here? No? Cuboidal. First they will be in the squamous beta, later on they converts into as a cuboidal based upon the structure formation here. So now we have formed the which structure here? No? Primary follicle here, right? This primary follicle which is formed here, This phase we will call it as a now which phase here now? Growth phase. That is a second phase, we can call it as a growth phase. First phase, in the 6th month it is started, continuing right until the 9 months, type A, and type B cells maybe in the 7th month or maybe in the 6th month only, they undergone for the second phase, which is calling it as a growth phase, which is calling it as a growth phase. But still it is happening inside the fetus only here, right? Still this is going to be get happen inside the fetus. Which one? The growth phase also. Growth phase, the name itself it is telling, it increases the size beta, right? It increases the size of cell, right? The name itself it is telling growth, right? The size of the cell, the growth is going to be get happen here now, okay? By getting the nutrients from the cells of the granulosa, they is going to be get produce, increase the cell size here now beta, from their primary oocyte to the which one here now? Primary follicle. This phase we will call it as a growth phase. Very important question they may ask you here, beta, in the growth phase no division will happen. In the growth phase no division will happen. Is it anything cell is getting divided here? No. In the multiplication phase, division of the cells is happened by which division? Mitosis here, right? So mitosis division is started in the where here? Oogonium, right? Multiplication phase here. But in the growth phase no division is happened, just the cell size, if it is a very less primary oocyte, then cell size has become what here no? Increase. The primary oocyte is now converted into primary follicle. This is the which phase here no? Growth phase, second phase. Clear, right beta here? Now see the next phase what it is going to be happen. So multiplication phase we completed here. If I write the point here no, in the multiplication phase, the oogonias will convert into the which oocytes here no? Primary oocytes. No more oogonias are developed after the birth of a baby. Primary oocytes. In the growth phase beta, the primary oocytes, right? Primary oocytes will convert into the which structure here no? Primary follicles, right? Any division will happen here? No division will happen. Just the increasing the size of the cell is going to be happen. Here the division will happen, that is calling it as a what here no? Mitosis. Clear these points here? Okay, right? Now I am talking about the maturation phase. Listen better. Whenever this primary follicle is formed here now, right? This is the primary follicle here. Primary follicle structure. I am just drawing again the primary follicle. Now see the diagrams carefully better. Whatever I am drawing here. Primary follicle. It contains which oocyte inside here now? Primary oocyte surrounded with the which cells here now? Granulosa cells. These are which cells here? Granulosa cells. What is this structure name beta here? What is this structure name here? This is called as primary follicle. This is called as what here? Primary follicle. This primary follicle is now undergoes for the next division called as what here no? Meiosis, right? Primary follicle will undergo for the next division called as meiosis, right? In the sense, now this primary follicle undergoes for the meiosis 1, right? It undergoes for the which division beta here? Meiosis 1. Until now we completed with the mitosis phase. Next one is a multiplication phase, that is. Next one is a growth phase. Now we are entering into the maturation phase beta here. In the maturation phase we will have a two divisions will be there. One is a meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is going to be still everything is happening inside the mother's womb only, around in the 7th month or 8th month or 9th month here, right? Still the fetus is not got delivered beta here. See, in the female body the oogenesis started in the when we are in the embryonic condition. Half of the oogenesis will get completed when we are in our mother's womb itself, right? Because multiplication phase completed in the mother's womb only, growth phase completed in the mother's womb only, maturation phase started in the mother's womb only. Look at here, next what will happen, right? Meiosis 1 started. In the meiosis 1, prophase 1 started, right? In the prophase 1, leptotin, zygotin, pachytin in the diplotin region, right? In the diplotin region, right? In the diplotin region, the division got arrested, right? The division got, what happened here now? Division got arrested. Which division got arrested here now? That is meiosis 1. Why, ma'am? Why it has got arrested? Meiosis 1 started in the primary follicle, enters into prophase 1, leptotin, zygotin, pachytin and diplotin. In the diplotin region, the primary follicle division has got arrested. Ma'am, why the division has got arrested here? Because now the fetus, right? Now the fetus completed its development, right? Completed the development, right? Fetus now completed its now development, in the sense it completes its the 9th month here, ready for parturition. Do you understand better? Until now everything is happened in the mother's womb only. Multiplication phase, growth phase and even the maturation phase. Better here onwards the maturation phase started here. Am I right here? Here onwards the maturation phase. This is the third phase here now, right? So third phase, which is a maturation phase, is started in the mother's womb only. Better here. Now she completed the 9 months. Right from her 6th month she started the oogenesis process here. Right from her 6th month to she completed her oogenesis process up to maturation phase up to the 9 months. Now she is ready for parturition. She got delivered here, right? She got, what happened here now? Delivered. When she got delivered, right? When she got delivered, in her both the ovaries here, right? In her both the ovaries, right? If this is a fetus here, imagine in this way, right? In her both the ovaries, when she got birth, when she got birth, any more oogonias will be present here? No, no, right? So because all the oogonias, right, will converts into what here now? Primary oocyte, right? Primary oocytes, right? These primary oocytes has now converted into the what here now? Primary follicles, right? In her both the ovaries, now the primary follicles will be present. Around 1 to 2 millions of primary follicles will be present. When she got birth, better here, I'm not telling when she reaches to puberty here, when she got birth, in the sense first day of the birth, right? First day of the birth of this fetus, in her both the ovaries, she will be having a, which structures are present here now? Primary follicles. How many primary follicles are present here? 1 to 2 millions of primary follicles will be present, right? Right now these 1 to 2 millions of primary follicles, which is there right from her birth condition to, right? She reaches now to the puberty now, better here now. She reaches to now where here now? Puberty condition, right? She got birth. When she got on the birth, that is the first day when she got birth here, right? In her ovaries she will be having a follicles which are the 1 to 2 millions of follicles. But when she reaches to puberty, in between there will be how many years will be there? Around 12 to 13 years will be present now, beta. Whatever the primary follicles are present in her body of both the ovaries, right? These primary follicles will undergo, right? These primary follicles will undergo for the process called as follicular atrasia, right? We'll call that is a what, you know? Follicular atrasia. Atrophy we can say, or atrasia we can say. In the sense, whatever that primary follicles which is present in her both the ovaries at the time of birth, when she reaches to the puberty, that is a maturation stage we can say now. Puberty is nothing but sexual maturity stage also we can say. Maturation stage we can say. It takes around 12 to 13 years now, better. In that 12 to 13 years, unknowingly the female is going to kill her own follicles. The killing of these follicles, we will call that process as a what here now? Follicular atrasia. Once this follicular atrasia is happened, when she reaches to puberty, in her each ovary, right? in her each ovary she will be having only around 60 to 80 thousands of primary follicles. She will be having how many follicles here? 60 to 80 thousands of primary follicles. Look at beta, where is the 1 to 2 millions of primary follicles? That primary follicles is now got atresia. Now in her each ovary she is having how many follicles here? No, 60 to 80 thousands of primary follicles are present. Better these follicles which is present when she is in the puberty condition, is it now completed its division? No, because I told you just now, primary follicles has stopped its division of meiosis 1, prophase 1, in which stage beta? Diplotin stage. Whatever the 60 to 80 thousands of primary follicles is there, they stopped its division. Right, that is they stop at its maturation phase here. Understand? Now understand the thing better here. When the female has got developing in the mother's womb, she started with the multiplication phase, completed, growth phase she started, completed, maturation phase she started, but not completed, because she completed 9 months development in the mother's womb. She stopped its division. She arrested its division here, right? Maturation phase not completed. After the birth, she reaches to puberty. Still the division is not completed. When she reaches to puberty also, she will be having 60 to 80,000 primary follicles, which is incomplete division of the meiosis 1. Still she did not completed its division, but yeah, maturation phase started in the mother's womb, when we are in the mother's womb, but still not yet completed here. Ma'am, when it will get complete here? See the next thing here, right? And I hope so until clear up to here, right? If you are liking the video, please make a subscription, subscribe the channel, right? Right, next thing, 60 to 80,000 of primary follicles is present here in the sense. Now these primary oocytes which are present here, right? These primary follicles, not primary oocytes, I'm sorry, primary follicles which are present, which will complete its division, right? But here, once she reaches to the puberty, right, hormonal changes will happen in her from her hypothalamus. She will start releasing the hormone called as GnRH. Puberty is nothing but maturation only. Once she got matured, the hormonal changes will happen in her body here. So at the time of after the maturation, her hypothalamus will start synthesizing a hormone called as GnRH. This GnRH will given to the anterior pituitary gland. If you don't have an idea this one, I think so your second year will be there who are watching these videos, they will have an idea about the chemical coordination chapter, that anterior pituitary gland will start producing the hormones, synthesizing a hormone called as FSH and LH. Now this FSH will go and act upon the where here? No, ovary. In ovary it will act upon the where here? No, ovary and cortex to stimulate the which process beta, which is stopped in its division here. Where it will stop it here? No, meiosis 1, prophase 1 and diplotin phase. Clear this point here, right? It started its division, right? For FSH will stimulate this follicle division, what it is got stopped. Once this follicle started division beta, look at the next thing here. Primary follicle completes its diplotin phase now. Diplotin phase completed, diakinesis got completed. Once it completed its diplotin phase and diakinesis, the primary follicles beta, it was arrested. Primary follicle division was arrested when we are in our mother's womb, and it completes after the birth, after the puberty. The meiosis 1, prophase 1 got completed its division. Now this primary follicle now converts into the next structure called as what here? No, secondary follicle. See the secondary follicle structure beta here. In the secondary follicle structure, we have primary oocyte will be present, right, surrounds with the which cells? Already primary follicle will have a which cells? Granulosa cells. So surrounds with the granulosa cells. Better these granulosa cells which was there for primary follicle was single layer, right? Primary follicle was having a single layer of granulosa cells, but here what is happened? Multi-layered of granulosa cells, right? The granulosa cells which was present, that will be the multi-layered is going to be happen here, right? This is, and around that it is going to be get form a next layer called as theca cells. Beta, look at this one, theca cells. This is a theca layer, right? This is a which layer here now? Theca layer, right? I'm writing the things here now. This is a primary oocyte. This is which cells beta here now? Theca cells. Theca cells. These theca cells are formed from the stromal cells, we can say here. Theca cells is formed from the which cells? Stromal cells. And these are what here no? Granulosa cells. These are called as granulosa cells. This is a structure, we can say it as a which one here no? Secondary follicle. This is a structure, we can say it as a which one here no? Secondary follicle, right? If they ask you, this is will be important for your theory also better here now, right? If they ask you what is the structure of secondary follicle consisting of primary oocyte surrounds with the multi-layer or single layer beta? Multi-layered of the granulosa cells. Multi-layered of the granulosa cells surrounds with the which layer here no? Theca layer or the theca cell. Theca cells are formed from the which cells here? Stromal cells. This is a which structure here no? Secondary follicle. Better now, these secondary follicle will complete its, better here what is completed? Meiosis 1 completed, prophase 1 got completed. In the sense, secondary follicle will undergoes with the, what is the next phase? After the prophase 1, right? That is a metaphase 1, right? Next one will be the what here no? Anaphase 1, right? Whenever this anaphase 1 and metaphase 1 is getting completed, the structure of the primary follicle will converts into what here no? Secondary follicle. Simultaneously it will be happen better this divisions is happening in the primary oocytes here, not secondary, primary oocytes here. See, the primary follicle is also the 2n, secondary follicle is also the 2n, because still it did not completed its meiosis 1 here, right? So because primary follicle completes its prophase 1, secondary follicle is completes its metaphase 1 and as well as a anaphase 1, right? Now this secondary follicle, when it undergoes for the telophase 1, the next structure will form here. Primary follicle structure completed, secondary follicle structure completed. How they get formed, what is inside the secondary follicle, we understood. Now I am talking about the next structure. What is the next structure here no? Tertiary follicle. Better still I am talking about the maturation phase only here, right? Maturation phase was started when we are in our mother's womb, stopped its division in the meiosis 1, diplotin, completes the diplotin and diagenesis after the puberty. Still meiosis 1 is not yet completed. You are in the puberty after the puberty condition here. Now this secondary follicle is now converted into the tertiary follicle. Now I am drawing the tertiary follicle structure, right? Tertiary follicle will have a inside, first which oocyte will be there? Secondary oocyte, right? And surrounds with the cells called as granulosa cells. Granulosa cells will be present. Along with these granulosa cells, it contain a one cavity called as what here no? Antrum, right? Antrum is a fluid filled cavity, and this is also surrounds with the which cells here no? Granulosa cells. I'm not just drawing all the things here, you can understand this point. All these are what here no? Granulosa cells. What is the structure I am drawing here no? Tertiary follicle. These are the granulosa cells, and the theca layer is there now beta here now, right? In the next page we have, previous page we have discussed that theca cells are present. These theca cells is going to be get divided into as a theca interna theca interna layer, this is, right? This is theca interna layer, and then one more calling it as a theca externa. Imagine now this is a which one, you know, theca externa, right? Now I'm going to write this one, right? This is a structure, we are calling it as a which one here now, tertiary follicle, right? This is a structure, we'll call it as a what here now, tertiary follicle. This is a tertiary follicle. If I write the things whatever is present in the tertiary follicle structure, it contains a secondary oocyte, right? Here I should tell one point here, better I'll tell you, right? It contains a granulosa cells, which is a multi-layered, okay? It contains the theca interna, right? Oh, theca externa has got deleted. Okay, let me write it, draw it here now. Theca externa, right? This is the calling it as what? Theca externa, right? Theca externa and theca interna, they got divided by the which cells here now? Theca cells of the which follicle? Secondary follicle, having the granulosa, and what is there here now? Antrum, right? The antrum cavity is present. It is filled with the liquor fluid, we can say. It is filled with the liquor fluid, right? This will be the antrum cavity, we can say here, but here the antrum cavity is a short will be present, small will be present, then short I can write the word is a small, right? This is a structure called as tertiary follicle. Now listen beta, very important point here beta. In the secondary follicle, it has started the division of metaphase 2 and the anaphase, sorry, metaphase 1 and anaphase 1, right? In the sense, the tertiary follicle started in the which phase now? Telophase 1, right? I am writing this point, very important beta. When the telophase 1 starts, tertiary follicle is having which oocyte will be present here? Primary oocyte. Ma'am, you have drawn here the secondary oocyte, but I am telling you now, telophase, when it is get started, the tertiary follicle is having a primary oocyte, which is a still 2n will be present here, right? But at the completion of telophase, right? Completion of telophase 1, then tertiary follicle, right? Tertiary follicle will complete its division now beta. When the division will get complete, how many cells will form after the telophase 1 here? 2 cells here. But tertiary follicle is going to have a which oocyte will be there here? Secondary oocyte. I'll just draw it here. See this one beta. See everyone, right? If you did not understand this point, see it here now. Beta. Primary follicle has a 2n, which it will start with the meiosis 1, right? When it will start with the meiosis 1, prophase 1, metaphase 1, right? And next anaphase 1, next is telophase 1, right? So for the completion of all these division, by the completion of all these division, in the middle we got the structure of the secondary follicle at the time of metaphase and as well as the anaphase. Now telophase 1 will get complete. It will produce the how many cells, but if the telophase 1 is get complete? 2 cells. Am I right here? No. Once it is going to be get complete, it has formed with the which structure here now? Tertiary follicle. Better in any other videos you don't find this point very clearly here. Please understand it carefully here. How much the claritily I'm just telling you, imagination of this diagram I'm just telling you here. Primary follicle, which is a 2n, started with the metaphase meiosis 1, prophase 1, stopped its division, that all we know. Metaphase 1, anaphase 1 is having the which structures? Secondary follicle. Once it starts with telophase 1 in the tertiary follicle, starting it will have a primary oocyte only, but after the completion it will have a which oocyte? Secondary oocyte, because telophase 1 it is completed, two cells it will form here. One cell we are calling it as a smaller cell beta, one cell is calling it as a larger cell here. Beta, smaller cell, we are using the word for this is a primary polar body, right? Primary polar body. The structure of tertiary follicle we discussed better in the previous page, that is it contains the secondary oocyte surrounded with the cells, that is granulosa cells, multi-layered or single-layered? Multi-layered of granulosa cells, which is having a cavity called antrum, right? Having with a primary polar body, right? Because telophase 1 is got completed here, and surrounds with the theca interna and having with the theca externa, right? This is the structure called as tertiary follicle. Okay, right? Now this tertiary follicle completes with the division of telophase 1. By that, two cells has got produced, which is the smaller cell, which we will consider this smaller cell as a primary polar body, and one more which is a larger cell, which we will consider this as a secondary oocyte, which we have drawn in this structure of tertiary follicle. You will get the doubt, ma'am, right? Ma'am, why you have drawn these two cells to be as unequal here? Better remember, in the oogenesis process, the unequal meiosis division will happen, but in the spermatogenesis process, the meiosis 1 whatever is happening, that will be the equal division in the spermatogenesis, but in the oogenesis process, the meiosis 1 will undergo for the unequal division. NCERT has given this point, that is the cytoplasm whatever is going to be get distributed, there is a plasmogamy we can say here, distribution of the cytoplasm will be the equal will happen here or unequal will happen? Unequal will happen. Even the nutrients which is present in the which oocyte? Primary oocyte will be get unequally divided. That's why one cell has formed like as a smaller, one cell has formed like as a larger cell, right? NCERT very clearly has given that the unequal division of cytoplasm and the nutrients will happen from the primary oocyte to divide into as a primary polar body and secondary oocyte, right? This primary polar body, as it is insufficient with the cytoplasm and the nutrient there, it may get degenerated. NCERT has asked this question that the primary oocyte will get degenerate or will get divided further, because here we have done only with the meiosis 1 na beta, right? Meiosis 2 still has yet to be get done here, right? So this is a which phase we can say here? No, maturation phase. Remember, I am repeatedly telling you this point that multiplication phase started in the mother's womb, completed mother's womb 6th month up to the 9 months. Type B cells will undergoes for the growth phase, which is started in the mother's womb, completed in the mother's womb. Maturation phase started in the mother's womb, but it stopped or arrested in the prophase 1 diplotin stage, right? and after that the birth is happened, 9th month completed, the parturition is happened. After the parturition we will be having a primary oocytes or primary follicles. Which condition will be there in the ovaries beta? Primary follicle. Structure of primary follicle we have discussed, and structure of secondary follicle, tertiary follicle. By the formation of tertiary follicles, the meiosis 1 has got now what happened here? Completed. Clear? Now these meiosis 1 which has got completed undergoes for the, this tertiary follicle will undergoes for the next which division here? No, Graphian follicle, right? The Graphian follicle, whatever the changes will happen in the structure of follicle here. See the diagram carefully. You don't get the diagrams in the NCERT, but please observe the diagrams carefully, right? Here it will have a secondary oocyte, inner side, right, surrounded with a one layer, calling it as very important, that is zona pellucida, right? This is the layer called as what here? No, zona pellucida. Who will secrete this zona pellucida? Secondary oocyte only will secrete this layer, calling it as zona pellucida, right? Around this zona pellucida we will be having a cells called as what here? Granulosa cells, right? Along with that there will be a cavity which was already there in the tertiary follicle. That cavity, what is that cavity name beta here? Antrum, right? That cavity has become the large. In the tertiary follicle the cavity of the antrum will be the smaller, but in the Graphian follicle as it got developed here, the antrum cavity has become increased, the size of the cavity has become increased. And even this is also got surrounded with the what here? No, granulosa cells, right? Granulosa cells here. Now this theca interna and theca externa is there now, beta, right? This theca interna and theca externa together they will fuse, they will form a basement membrane, right? They will form a what here? Basement membrane. Now this is a structure which we are calling it as a which one here? No, Graphian follicle, right? Graphian follicle. This Graphian follicle, we can also use the word for this is a mature follicle. We'll also use the word for this Graphian follicle also as a what ma? Mature follicle here. You can see the structure difference now here very clearly. I'm just showing you the differences clearly with the primary follicle structure, secondary follicle structure, tertiary follicle structure and the Graphian follicle structure. Graphian follicle will starts its meiosis 2, right, okay, and completes with the prophase 2 and enters into the metaphase 2. Again in the metaphase 2 the division has got arrested, right? The division has got arrested. Division arrested in the which phase we can say? Metaphase 2, right? Metaphase 2. Metaphase 2, that is meiosis 2 has started, prophase 2 and metaphase 2. Again the division got arrested. How many times until now the division got arrested? 2 times. One is in the meiosis 1, prophase 1, diplotin stress, because the baby is got ready for the purpose of parturition. Now here again the second time the meiosis 2, metaphase 2, the division got arrested because the reason is the Graphian follicle has become matured and now it is ready for the process called as what here now? Ovulation. Because all these things is happening in the which place beta? Ovarian cortex region. Look at the point carefully here. I should talk a little bit about the zona pellucida here, right? This zona pellucida is a non-cellular layer. Ma'am, if it is a non-cellular layer, then what it is made up of here? It is made up of with the glycoproteins and mucopolysaccharides. right? What is the function of this zona pellucida? Beta, it is helpful to protect the which oocyte here, primary oocyte or secondary oocyte? Secondary oocyte. Who is going to get secrete this zona pellucida layer? By secondary oocyte only. Secondary oocyte only will secrete this zona pellucida, and even this zona pellucida can avoid the ectopic pregnancy. If you have an idea about the ectopic pregnancy, beta, here ectopic pregnancy is nothing but implantation of the embryo other than the uterus. Either it can be in the fallopian tube or either it can be in the cervix region other than the uterus. If it is happened, we'll call that condition is a ectopic pregnancy. Zona pellucida will be helpful. In the further, I'll just discuss these points also. In the next video, we'll discuss that point here. Zona pellucida will also helpful to avoid the what here, no, ectopic pregnancy here. Clear this point? Now the Graafian follicle stopped its division in the metaphase 2, right? Now what will happen here? Once the metaphase to the Graafian follicle stopped its division here, imagine now if this is a uterus, cervix and the vagina. Here the fallopian tube is present, right? We know that these are what here? Infundibulum. Here the ovary is there. In this ovary only, we know that all this whatever we have discussed until now, the oogenesis process, primary follicle have formed, secondary follicle, right? Tertiary follicle structures formed, then finally it converted into which follicle? Graafian follicle. Beta, all this follicle stimulation is happened because of which hormone here? FSH. You know the full form of the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. The name itself it is telling, I am going to stimulate the follicles here into primary, to secondary, to tertiary, to the Graafian here, right? Once the graphial follicle structure is matured here, now it is ready for which purpose here? Ovulation. What it will do? Ovulation is nothing but these Graafian follicle will get rupture. Once it got ruptured, right, it will releases the ova into this peritoneal cavity. Better this space whatever is present here, we'll call it as a peritoneal cavity. This fimbril, right, fimbrae, that is a finger like projection, that will catch this ova, right, which is a matured ova. Can I say immature ova? Remember, this is a immature ova. Why I am calling this is a immature ova? Is it completed its division, beta? No. Because why it is not completed? I told you just now, meiosis 2, it has arrested its division here. So it's a immature ova, not completed its division. Okay, not completed its division, so I can use a word for this is a immature ova or immature secondary oocyte which is released here. We'll call this process is a what here? No, ovulation, because of rupture of Graafian follicle. Now ovulation is happened. Once the ovulation is happened, what are the structures is going to be get released? Look at here now, beta. Secondary oocyte surrounded with the what here? No, I'm sorry, zona pellucida is still there na. Zona pellucida will be present here, right? So zona pellucida will be present, surrounds with the cells called as corona radiata cells, right? Once these granulosa cells will convert into as which cells here? No, corona radiata cells. Now this is we are calling it as a immature ovum or the immature secondary oocyte which is released from the ovarian cortex into the fallopian tube by the process called as ovulation. You know that for the process of ovulation we need the hormone calling it as a LH. LH surge is going to be get happen here. Now this immature ova or the secondary oocyte, it will be waiting in the place calling it as ampulla for 24 hours or we can call it as a 1 day, right? If the fertilization is occurred, right, if the fertilization is going to be get happen if the copulation is going to be happen, then insemination will happen, then the entry of the sperm will happen, then the sperm will come and enter into this ova because of for the process called as fertilization. How this will happen we'll discuss in the further videos also. But here if the fertilization is not happen, right, if the fertilization is not happen, then what will happen to this ovum which is waiting in the ampulla for the purpose of fertilization? One day it will wait it here. If it is not happen, it will started movement from ampulla towards the where here isthmus. Slowly it will decreases its size. Which size is decreasing, beta? The ovum, which is a secondary oocyte, immature one, is got decreases its size, and when it decreases its size, slowly it will be get regressed and get absorbed into the tissues of the fallopian tube and will be there in the endometrium layer as a ruptured ovum for the process of menstrual cycle. Okay, for the process of the menstrual cycle. If fertilization is not happen, this will be the condition will happen. If the fertilization will happen, what will be the next stages will form? In the next video we are going to discuss that one here, right? So hereby we have done with the process calling it as a what? Oogenesis, right? If fertilization is happen, the further development will happen. If the fertilization is not happen, in the sense every month in the oogenesis process, means whatever the ova you are releasing, it's a matured one or immature one, beta here no? Immatured ova or secondary oocyte you are going to release out of your body in the form of menstrual cycle, right? Ma'am, you told that oogenesis process is nothing but formation of a mature ovum. We will call it as a oogenesis. Yes, beta, that's right here. That's what I'm telling you. In every month, the oogenesis process is not going to be get complete in our body. When it will get complete? After the entry of the sperm. After the entry of the sperm into the ovum, the meiosis 2 and the metaphase 2, which is stopped its division because of entry of the sperm, this metaphase 2 completes its anaphase 2 and then telophase 2, right? Okay, because of increase of calcium levels here, I'll discuss in the next video in detail how this process will happen, right? Telophase 2. By the end of the telophase 2, again how many cells will form? 2 cells will form. One is a smaller cell and one will be the again what here now? Larger cells. This larger cell name we will call it as a secondary oocyte, which is the mature, right? Or the NCERT has given the word for this is a ooted. Ooted is the mature one. The ooted will form after the entry of the sperm, right? Then that oogenesis process is going to be get complete better. That's what the NCERT is telling, that the oogenesis process never is going to be get complete in our body unless the sperm will enter into the ova. Every month we are going to be get regress the secondary oocyte, which is stop its division in the metaphase 2. Clear this point here? Okay, everyone will have a doubt that ma'am, how many polar bodies is going to be get formed? Well, sir, here only I told you this is a which one? I forgot to tell this one. This is a which one, beta? Here secondary polar body, right? In the first polar body we have formed their first polar body that will get disintegrated, I told you here. Now here the which polar body has formed? Secondary polar body here, right? So most of the students will have a doubt this point, beta. In the oogenesis process, how many polar bodies is going to be get formed here now? Remember, if this is the meiosis 1 undergoes for the division, that is a primary oocyte which is having with the primary follicle, undergoes for the 2 cells, undergoes for the meiosis 1 will form the 2 cells, which is a primary polar body, and this is what here now? This is what here now? Secondary oocyte, right? Which is calling it as a what here? Secondary oocyte, which is a which is a N and which is the N. This is calling it as a 2 2n here. Okay, next, if this secondary oocyte is undergoing for meiosis 2, how many cells it will form, beta? 2 cells if it is going to be get formed here. In the sense, this is we are calling it as a secondary oocyte, which is the mature, and this is we are calling it as a immature, right? This is we are calling it as a immature secondary oocyte, and forming with the which polar body here, no? Secondary polar body. This is also unequal, beta. Here also the unequal division only will happen. Ma'am, here you are telling only the 2 polar bodies, but you are telling that oogenesis will form the 3 polar bodies here. Listen, beta. Sometimes this primary polar body only will undergoes further again to again for division, beta. At that time totally how many polar bodies is going to be get formed here, no? 3 polar bodies, but these primary polar body generally will get disintegrate here. In some cases, if it is going to be get divide, then the primary polar body also will have the chances to form a 2 polar bodies here. So 1, 2 and the 3 here. Totally the 3 polar bodies will form. That's what most of the books might have written, that in the oogenesis process, chances of producing either 2 polar bodies or the 3 polar bodies. 2 polar bodies will produce whenever the primary polar body got disintegrate here, or else 3 polar bodies will happen when the primary polar body has undergone for the what here, no? Division. Clear these points here, right? This is about the process called as what here, no? Oogenesis, right? Please be with the structure very clear here, no matter, right? This is about the process in detail, the process of the oogenesis here, right? Right. Now we'll discuss the differences between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis process. Very simple but very important matter here. Spermatogenesis, and this is what here, no? Oogenesis here. In the spermatogenesis process, the primary spermatocyte will divides into which one here, no? Secondary spermatocyte to produce as the sperms, right? But here in the oogenesis, the primary oocyte will produce the what here, no? Secondary oocyte plus polar bodies. This is important. Here the polar bodies formation will not happen. Their polar bodies formation will happen here. Next difference. Each primary spermatocyte will produce how many sperms here? 4 sperms here, right? Each secondary spermatocyte, this topic I have given very clearly in the previous topic, that is spermatogenesis. You can watch that video. Secondary spermatocyte will produce how many sperms here? 2 sperms here. And spermatid will produce how many sperms? 1 sperm, right? If I go it with the each primary oocyte will produce how many sperms here, no? Sorry, how many ova here? Only 1 ova. Third difference, meiosis will be having the equal division in the spermatogenesis to produce the equal sizes of the cell. But in the oogenesis, the meiosis will be the unequal division will happen. Because of this unequal division only, na beta, we are going to form these polar bodies here. Primary polar body, secondary polar body, is going to be get formed here. Then fourth one, this is very important. The spermatogenesis process will start in the male body after the puberty, when they get reached as the puberty here. But the oogenesis process will start in the embryonic stage of the mother's womb itself. Generally, I have told you that point also, around in the which month here? 6th month. We are going to get start the oogenesis process here, right? Spermatogenesis process will happen in the how many phases? 4 phases. If you might have remembered the previous video, that is the multiplication phase, growth phase, maturation phase and differentiation phase, right? Differentiation phase here. 4 phases will be appeared in the spermatogenesis. But in the oogenesis process, there will be only 3 phases. Just now we have spoken about these 3 phases now, beta. That is the maturation phase, growth phase, multiplication phase, growth phase and the maturation phase. Only 3 phases will be there in the oogenesis here. And the last difference, if we can can see here, spermatogenesis will be get completed around the 65 to 75 days once it is started in the seminiferous tubule, right, in the from the male germ cells here, right. In detail about the spermatogenesis process, please watch the video of the spermatogenesis. In detail about that I have discussed over there. And but in the oogenesis beta here, right, the completion of the oogenesis will happen only after the entry of the sperm will happen. If the sperm is not entered into that immature ova, never the oogenesis process is going to be get completed in the female body, right. And one more point, one time the NT has asked this question here, that is which phase is occurring in a longer period of time in the oogenesis, that is maturation phase beta. I told you very clearly this point. Multiplication phase, mother's womb completed, started and completed. Growth phase, mother's womb started and completed. Maturation phase started in the mother's womb but will get completed after the entry of the sperm. It could be having around the 25 to 30 years of phase now beta, isn't it here? When we get married around 20 years or maybe 25 years or after the 30 years, after the entry of the sperm only this phase is going to be get completed here. So the maturation phase occurs many years in the female under the process called as oogenesis. Clear these differences? Very clear differences I have given you here, right. I hope so you like this video, the very clear explanation about the oogenesis here, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.